He hasn't even seen me in a video call, just the photos on the dating app. But he has decided that we will have the most romantic first date that will last all day when he meets me, and we'll be married in less than a year. Yeah, that's some red flags right there.
Oh, hold on. I dropped my pen.
Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies, it's just a fact, and it's totally science. Go ahead, look it up, thanks so much. The Waffle House lady came back, I guess. Remember how OP said he dated this complete psychopath? Yeah, well, we're hearing more stories and I love to see it, so let's jump into things. But wait, first we gotta talk about our sponsor, and that sponsor is me, presenting to you the Euphemism ABCs, a grown-up alphabet adventure, available on Patreon now for $4.99. If you're a channel member or a patron, you should have gotten yours already, even Discord server boosters. Got this one as a freebie. We will list it on Amazon shortly. I do want it to be available as like a physical book. You can also go to Patreon and, subscribe for $1 and download the attachment. Then you unsubscribe. I ain't judging you. At least we're getting some interaction over there. Anyway, Waffle House lady plans a wedding. Euphemism ABC. This makes a great wedding gift. Greetings, friends and friends adjacent. I like that. It's me, your boy. Oh, don't like that. Banquo, coming at you with another Waffle House lady story. I have had some time between commissions. I make things for people. Hey, me too. What do you make? I make videos. I poop on the internet a lot. And for some reason, a big group of people like to come watch. There was also school events and general adulting to sit down and recant yet another Waffle House lady tale. Trigger warning, smattering of maltreatment, a drizzle of racism, maybe a sprinkle of homophobia. You gotta stop making it sound so delicious, OP. We can't have even a drizzle kills. Every sprinkle is a lost life. The cast of characters, OP, myself, the victim, or sadist, or however you want to label me at this point. Horn dog. That's what I'm calling this as. Waffle House lady, titular character that I didn't run away flailing from when I should because, why not? Yeah, why not? She's hot, gives you a place to park the sausage truck. It's fine. My common sense, another absent or silent character, played by none other than the late, great Mickey Rooney, with an understudy of Gollum. Well, I'm sorry, Mickey Rooney couldn't be here today.
It looks like Gollum is going to have to step up.
The events in question started a couple days after the first date. Y'all remember that? If you don't, links in the description, okay? And a few lengthy phone conversations, which mostly consisted of me being on the phone while she yelled at Angel and her kids for who knows what. Someone drinking her Sprite or eating her cheesecake or her duodenum acting up. Yeah, alligators is on because of their medulla oblongata. You name it. We were talking about getting together, and I said I had a day off the next day, so she could come over for dinner and I would cook. I guess it's a step up from Waffle House, isn't it? OP says, I used to be a chef, and due to an injury, I couldn't do that anymore, so I loved having the chance to cook for people. What was the injury? Can I see it? Is it gross? Or it's just like arthritic hand. That's not sexy. I want to hear that you chopped your thumb off. Like, whoa, how do you live with no thumb, bro? On a big pile of insurance money. She initially rejected because of her kid, but I told her that I understood the struggles of dating as a single parent. I raised my firstborn by myself prior to the divorce mentioned in the previous story, and I actually am still raising that kid alone. So I wouldn't mind if the little guy came over. And he was a cool kid from the first few moments I met him. And it would help that my oldest would have a playmate while Waffle House lady and I chatted. Oh, chatted, that's what the kids are calling it nowadays, huh? On a serious note though, I imagine there was a lot of single parent situations, and yeah, why not let the Rugrats play together while me and mommy go play night crawlers under the blankets? She agreed, and I asked if she'd like me to cook anything special. She said no, but if I could provide adult beverages, that would be great. I said, sure. Again, money wasn't an issue, so I told her to tell me what she wanted. OP, money's not an issue. What would you like? Waffle House lady, I don't know. What are you getting? OP, just some Cabernet Sauvignon is my favorite wine, and I'm not a huge drinker. I hope you butcher the name as badly as I do when you say it out loud, OP. Shame on you. Waffle House lady. Ha! You freaking F-slur! Give me some whiskey! We're just letting that one slide, huh? Again? Because she's hot? Jesus. Have some standards, fella. OP says, a real winner. I sure can pick 'em. And then he says to her, not a fan. That stuff tastes like paint thinner to me, but if that's what you want, I'll get you something. What kind in particular? Don't come for the whiskey drinkers, OP. Don't do it. Yes, it tastes like the inside of an oak-aged barrel, and I love it. I'm expecting her to ask for like some top shelf whiskey, despite her dining preferences, but no, she said she didn't know anything about brands, she just wanted whiskey. I got her the cheap shit. She's not getting that. It's fine. I might have subconsciously learned from the previous date not to expect all that much, or maybe I would think her reaction would be hilarious. I really don't know. I just wanted to eat my pork chops and have a good evening. I told her that we would be dining around 6, but if she wanted to come over earlier, I wouldn't argue. She's not gonna show up till 9:30. Kid's still awake, wired on Red Bull. If we automatically think the worst, then we might be pleasantly surprised. Or horrifically surprised. But either way, surprise is fun. My oldest and I set the table with flowers, our nice Krell plates, and I put the bottles of wine and whiskey on the table. The spread was pretty good, if I could toot my own horn. Oh, damn, we should put that one in the Euphemism ABC book. That's fine. You can toot your own horn if you want. Nobody's watching, except for all the angels. Billowy mounds of mashed potatoes topped with gravy, golden corn swimming in butter, crispy breaded pork chops, and some ice cream in the freezer for later. Oh, you kill me right now. There is actually a cut here. I went to eat dinner. That's how hungry I got just reading that. I'm like, oh, we don't have to go on a date, OP, but maybe we could hang out as friends and you cook. So 6 p.m. came, and Waffle House lady was nowhere to be seen. Flake. It's okay. Maybe there was traffic, so I call. She said she's leaving her house now, and she apologized. I tell her it's okay, just drive safely. Leaving the house now means still haven't even started getting ready. I put covers on the food so it stays warm. The child and I went on to play Minecraft while we waited, but inevitably lost track of time. The clock tolled 7 p.m. No sign of Waffle House lady. No answer on her phone, so I texted. She said, she was almost there, and apologized again. I told her that we couldn't wait much longer, as the food was cold, and I would need time to reheat everything. She said to wait for her, and she'd be there soon. She's just now leaving the house. At this point, we're all starving, so I say, screw it, and me and the kid eat. If her and her kid were hungry when they got here, I'd just pop things back in the oven. I don't even own a microwave. That's good policy, honestly. We ate it, and it was delicious, and we went back to the video games. I stopped paying attention to the time when I hear a knock on the door at 8:30 p.m. It was them, with McDonald's cups, stating they already ate when I asked why they had McDonald's. I mean, I don't know how old that kid, but kids need to eat. It starts just by going through the drive-thru to get the kid a hamburger to shut him up. And then I end up with like 4 quarter pounders and 3 iced coffees. Wake up in the morning 20 pounds heavier. I'm just like, oh, what happened? Apparently, she had just forgot that I was cooking, paying no mind to the fact that I literally told her the food was getting cold. Maybe it's a power play on her part. Huh. I shrugged it off, though, just happy that she was finally here and that we were able to hang out. Why do you want to hang out with somebody like this? Honestly, at a certain point, it's just too much. Though I was indeed a bit annoyed because it was basically bedtime for my kid, and I assumed that it would be bedtime for hers quite soon. Maybe he's just one of them free-range kids. Falls asleep at 4 a.m. with his face in a pile of jelly beans. Who hasn't been there before? I annoyingly packed away the food in the fridge, made a box for my lunch for the next day of work, and I offered the kids some ice cream. They gladly accepted, and I asked Waffle House lady if she wanted anything. Yeah, and give me some of that whiskey. Yeah, of course, that she remembered. I start to pour it into a glass with some ice, only to be met with a cackle and a, "You friggin' wuss, I drink it straight." And she begins to chug straight from the bottle. Wonderful.
I takes mine to the head.
Yeah, she really is just a class act, ain't she? I asked her to slow down because she would have to drive, with her child in the car nonetheless, and she laughed and said, "She would be fine." Dude, that's the word. No. Excuse me, no.
Don't drink and drive.
Oh, fine. I'll drive between sips.
I insisted and said I wouldn't feel comfortable with her driving like that, especially with her kid in the car. The famous switch had now been flipped. Waffle House lady, "So what? And then I get to stay overnight. Don't you want that? Are you trying to get rid of me? Come on, child. OP doesn't even want us here anymore." She called out to the kid, and that's when I stepped in and said, fine. I'd rather you stay here than put anyone in danger, so feel free to stay. She's gonna try and get you to bang it out again, you realize that. Then again, for all this pain, heartache, mental distress, maybe parking the beef bus in Toontown wouldn't be so bad. Although she is crazy. You're gonna have to deal with that for like years after it happens, so just keep that in mind. Waffle House lady says, "Okay, good. Good thing I brought our stuff with us just in case." Oh, how I love changes in plans that weren't run by me. Can't pick a restaurant when you have a week's notice, but you can make the decision to sleep over at someone's house that you've only been out with once. Cool. For the record, this was the last time I let my child anywhere even close to her. I went out with her a few more times after this, but always found a sitter in a private setting. There was the Little League game that we went to where she tried to fight with my recent ex-wife, and yeah, that was a fun thing to explain in custody court. Does she just think her entire life is like a big long episode of Jerry Springer? She's like, I gotta keep the action going. His ex-wife's over there. I'm gonna go punch her. Come on. Some of you might be wondering why I put up with this. Thank you. Please, yes, reasons, many. Or at least one really good one. OP says, well, I had a bit of a checkered past myself. Didn't always make the best choices and rebuilt myself after losing everything. So I was very big on giving people a second chance. I mean, what's her story? Does she deserve a second chance? It seems like everything's handed to her and she's just determined to be a disaster. But again, it's hard to judge from just a Reddit post. OP clarifies that now he admires from a distance and hopes for the best and maybe even helps remotely. This and the series of events involved with Waffle House Lady taught me to vet the people that I allow in a lot better. Damn, I guess we all get that lesson in certain forms and fashions. For me, it was when my YouTube channel first started blowing up. Not everyone that enjoys this content will make a good friend, and I know that now. The walls are very high, the courtyard is very small, but it's safer this way. It has to be this way. I told her that I was gonna go wash the dishes and would enjoy the company in the kitchen as I didn't want to yell across the apartment and be rude. She obliged and spent the next 15 minutes it took me to clean the dishes, making seductive gestures towards me, making sexy time comments, and begging me to take her when the children are asleep. Lord, please get me out of this in one piece.
How could this happen to me? Made my mistakes, got nowhere to run.
Yeah, you're gonna be one piece. You're gonna have a hole stabbed right through the middle, but apart from that, it's fine. You stuck it to her once. We gotta go the whole 9 now. At this point, I didn't know where everyone was sleeping. I offered the couch to her kid because there was only one bed in my kid's room, and I assumed that I would sleep in my own bed, so I brushed it off as solved, and we went about our evening. What time is it at this point? Here's some late-nighter kids. They got school tomorrow? Eh, whatever. OP's got it handled. Or so we have to tell ourselves. After leaving the kitchen, I made everyone hot chocolate and settled into the couch to watch a movie. She said she brought something special and reached into her purse. And from there, she produced a bridal catalog. OP, are you planning a wedding? Waffle House lady, I am. OP, whose? Anyone I know? Yeah, we've known each other for like 2 weeks and have mutual friends, sure. I expected to be called a moron or a dummins or something similar. Oh, how I wish it was just that. Waffle House lady says, no, dumbass. Oh, there it was. I'm planning our wedding. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. You gotta run, dude. This is not gonna turn out well. OP, ours? You're funny. Who is getting married? Waffle House lady with a stern, completely confused look. Ours. You do love me, right? And if you love me, then you'll marry me. OP, I literally just met you. I don't know if I love you yet. I'm sorry if I... Oh, now this is a tragedy, isn't it? She gave up the booty and she's like, you have to love me now. I'm sorry, Waffle House lady, you got the whole thing backwards. She is just a mixed up woman, but I don't know if there's enough therapists in the world to change this. I don't think OP is able to change it. You better just run.
Run.
If this wasn't the point where you started running, I don't know what to tell you. Help me to help you, you know? At this point, Waffle House lady cut me off in tears and began to pack everything up to leave. But again, I didn't want to let her drive, and I said we could talk about this in a more private setting, you know, to make it more special. This seemed to calm her down, and she just thumbed through the magazine, showing me her favorite gowns and explaining where this event would take place and how and whatnot. Good Lord, what did I get myself into, and why did I allow it to go on for so long? Yeah, I seem to keep asking that as well. Hell of a story, though. How hot was she? Is it gross? Can I see pictures? The rest of the evening was uneventful until bedtime came. I put mine down, got him to sleep, and changed for bed myself. Waffle House lady did the same with her kid, and we retreated to the bed to wind down. Usually, I would read before bed to get myself tired. Still do, actually. Books! Yay! Euphemism ABCs, good for the bedtime stories, got it. Something told me that this night wouldn't be a reading sort of night. I can't confirm that you read, OP, because good readers are also good writers. I read quite often too, except it's on the Kindle. Does that count? It probably counts, fine. Waffle House lady and I start chatting until I hear a wailing from the front room. Apparently, her child couldn't sleep without his mother, and wouldn't sleep on the couch and insisted on coming into the bed. Damn. I put my foot down and said absolutely not, because I was not comfortable with that. Really good call right there, OP. Pump the brakes. After an hour of her trying to console him and multiple calls from my neighbors about the noise, I opted to just sleep on the couch and let them have my bed. It was late and I was sleepy. Plus I had work the next day, so I wanted to get rest as I was pulling a double shift. Well, I guess this is what we get for dragging the kid along. If you really wanted to get it wet, man, could pay for a babysitter, but I don't know. Eventually we all slept and I woke up and they were gone. Just ghosted. Not a trace of them was to be seen. I breathed a sigh of relief, actually. I didn't know how she was in the morning, and while I planned on making a big breakfast for everyone, I was kind of relieved I didn't have to. So I took myself and my child to IHOP for breakfast, where I jokingly asked for waffles. Yeah, and they actually had waffles. Waffle House. Scared of big pancake. I see ya. You don't want to encroach on anybody else's territory. Sometimes I think ghosting in the middle of the night is the best thing. Did you check for your valuables immediately? Because I'm pretty sure that's what I would have done. What'd she steal? I didn't hear from her all day. I worked my double. I came home and I got a phone call that she needed a ride. But that is a story for another time, friends. Oh, come on! I want to hear about how you victimized yourself a whole bunch some more. But it'll have to wait. I hope you are enjoying this tale, and we get to trauma bond together, so that's good. I have a few more of these in me for Waffle House Lady, and then another one-off about my neckbeard brother, but that's a journey in itself. Stay tuned for another tale of Banquo's bad decisions. That's why he's only got one thumb, don't you know? Until next time, be well. And if you meet someone who wants to get married a week in, yeah, probably run, or flounce, or skip, whichever mode of conveyance works best for you. Well, actually, I'm on the crutches now because I got thrown off a roof. TLDR, invited folks over for dinner. They were stupid late, calamity was had, and apparently I was gonna get married against my will. Spoilers, we didn't. Well, thank God for that at least. OP does seem to know where to draw the line. He has given her far too many chances, but he did sort of explain himself about all that. So I can't be too mad. Gotta take it with a grain of salt and be like, well, we all made decisions. Sometimes you gotta sit with an L. Sometimes the L turns out to be a W because you get to post the story eventually years later on the internet for your internet friends to laugh at. Yeah, it is definitely a ride. I'm happy to be taking it. Story's a little bit short, so let's go ahead and jump into something else and see what happens. From DatingHell, guy from Bumble decided to marry me without checking my opinion. Well, this is fortuitous. This all links right together, doesn't it? So, I had matched with a guy on Bumble a few months ago, both in our early 30s. Since he was out of town, we couldn't meet up. Instead, we moved to WhatsApp until he was back in town, and then we could chat without the lag from the dating app. Yeah, and a good way to vet each other more thoroughly. Why do we want to jump to the date immediately? I don't even know if I like you. Well, 2 days in, bro is basically already in a committed relationship with me in his head. He hasn't even seen me in a video call, just the photos on the dating app. But he has decided that we will have the most romantic first date that will last all day when he meets me, and we'll be married in less than a year. Yeah, that's some red flags right there.
Oh, hold on. I dropped my pen.
Stage 5 clinger. He would also speak to me with very affectionate voice, using words like love and dear and sweetheart. I couldn't muster a teaspoon of emotion while responding. He would also message me corny good morning photos with flowers or a sunrise and wish me good night before going to sleep. I mean, he's deep into the courting ritual, which isn't wrong in itself. I'm a bit old school, but he's also being way too familiar to throw around words or ideas such as those. Stop being weird. Play it cool. You'll know when it's time to say those things, all right? This guy also had some weird food requirements. Oh boy. He had a long list of items he didn't like to eat. Any animal products, including eggs, meat and dairy, a bunch of vegetables like tomatoes, carrots, beets, bell peppers, etc., rice, steamed items. Yeah, I don't want my stuff cooked with steam. Well, we can't fry it either because we're not using animal products. Or are you one of those people that uses seed oils? Ew! Stuff will kill you. Look it up. As an Asian, this list was a nightmare, but he was Asian too. He wasn't allergic to the foods above, he just didn't like them. Can't stand the fucking picky. You think this is a personality? It's not. It's an okay thing to mention as a little aside, but when you're expecting me to shape my life around this shit, no. I can't do it. I'm not gonna do it. OP says that this guy got very upset that I like to cook the items from the above list, but he was willing to try some of them if I feed him from my own hands with love. Yeah, he said that out loud. It's so weird. You have to feed him a carrot like a horse and stroke his muzzle. He also said cooking would be my responsibility, and I will have to adhere to his tastes. Out of pocket, but he's already married to me in his head. I think it would be better to take a passive voice. A little bit of a different approach here. You say, I'm not very good at cooking. She says, I love to cook. He says, would you mind doing most of the cooking? I will compromise somewhere else in our relationship. This is how humans talk, but he's throwing out non sequiturs. By the way, you gotta cook everything, but no tomatoes or beets or bell peppers or rice. The talking lasted less than a week because the entire thing felt either like a scam or a plain old red flag, an undiagnosed disorder if nothing else. I politely turned him down and blocked him. I guess he had to divorce me in his head. Experience -3 out of 10. Entertainment 9 out of 10. Of course I told all my friends. He's definitely a weird guy and he's gonna end up alone for a long time, but I don't know that he'll ever realize why. Were you direct with him about the things that made you disengage? I mean, it's not required. You're not a bad person for simply dropping them and walking away, but it might have helped him in his future endeavors. If that's even something that you give a shit about, which you might not. Let's see what else we got here. DatingHell. First date was a disaster. Oh, this needs some formatting help. It's fine. So I, 29, went on a first date Friday night with a man, 31, that I'd been talking to for a little over 2 months, but we had never met because he lived 2 hours away, and he lagged on the 3 previous attempts to hang out. It was always some BS excuses. I'm sick, my eyes red, I'm scared to meet you because I'm not social. But somehow, I was dumb enough to look past all of that. When someone shows you who they really are, you just believe them. It's fine. He's going to be a useless flake through the entire relationship if it even gets to that point. He finally made plans to visit me on his day off and decided to book a room, suggesting that we have dinner and meet for breakfast the next morning. That's right, girl, you gotta give it up. I booked a $60 a night roach motel. But red flags were starting to appear before he even got to my city. For example, when I asked for his ETA so I could get ready, he replied with a snarky, why would you need to get ready? I told you I always look like a bum. Don't dress too nicely. It'll just make me feel awkward. I mean, I always look like a schlub, but I'm proud to parade around with a beautiful woman on my arm. Wifey doesn't even need to get ready either. No makeup, no, walk out the house. She's gorgeous. High cheekbones, beautiful teeth, enchanting eyes. It's natural. I thought all this was pretty weird, but I decided to just reassure him despite the uneasiness. So we make plans to meet up. He refused to pick me up. At the restaurant of my choosing, he told me to choose. I told him where, and he happily agreed. It's kind of good that he doesn't come pick you up, because then you're trapped in his car, you know? It can end a lot of worse ways than just an awkward date. So I got to the restaurant maybe 5 or 8 minutes after him, greeted him warmly, and all I got was a cold, "Did you see what I texted you? It's a 40-minute wait." So I said, oh, okay, so should we go for a walk? Meanwhile, he's sulking and obviously annoyed. He gets up and says, I guess. What the fuck is your problem, dude? Is he trying to imply that it's her fault that they have to wait for a table because she picked the place? Who cares? Suck it up, Buttercup. You're a 31-year-old fucking man. You do not sulk in public. Just a petulant child. OP then suggests that they sit at an empty table so they could talk, and this guy got even more visibly annoyed. This ain't ended well either way. We sit down and he tells me, "This is annoying. Why would you pick this place knowing I don't like crowds? I feel like you did this maliciously and on purpose to take shots at me." Bro, my baggage is not your fucking baggage, okay? Maybe we're just not compatible. This date is over. I didn't feel like waiting 40 minutes anyways. I'm going to McDonald's.
Rock and roll McDonald's.
OP says, I was in shock. I again tried to reassure him that I would never do such a thing and even asked him if he wants to go somewhere else. He declined, saying, "What's the point? I already put my name down." He then gets a text stating that our table was ready, so we get seated, and while we're looking at the menu, I mentioned that I might just get something small, but he even got annoyed at that. You don't want to buy your food? What about the big talk, breakfast and dinner and all that shit? Come on, I thought you were Mr. Money Stacks, Mr. Robobands, huh? At this point, getting up and walking out was running through my head. Should have done it. He ordered hot sake shots, took the first one without me, lol. Either completely clueless or just a dickhead. It doesn't matter either way. It's time to get up and out. He told me to taste his cocktail. I took 2 sips and he said, "Might as well keep it since you're drinking it all." Yeah, cool. Coolly cool. I guess I will. Fast forward to the end of the night. He pays the bill and we walk outside. He offers to walk me to my car. Halfway there, I stop him and we exchange a few words. I gave him a little side hug and dipped. When I got home, I texted, "Thanks for dinner," and he instantly responded, "You're welcome. I'm sorry for taking your time." Guys, what the fuck? I blocked him on everything. Well, this was just a series of unfortunate events, wasn't it? But I guess the most fortunate thing that we could take away from this is, hey, he showed you who he was real early, and you're like, all right, gotta get out of here. The fact that he's weird and apologetic after the fact, but trying to be like a suave, cool jerk in real life, it doesn't really mesh. Maybe he's going for some sort of pickup artist tactic. A little bit of the old negging, I'd guess. But he's clearly not a seasoned hand. Not that it ever works, but at least stay consistent in the tone that you're using. Of course this threw her for a loop. I'm still not sure what the hell happened, but I know what can clean it away from my brain. Another story. He forgot to mention something. Another one from DatingHell. I, 20NB, had a date with a guy from Tinder, 23M, and he forgot to mention that it wasn't the first time that we had met. Well, that seems a little weird. For context, I was an escort for a little more than a year, from ages 18 to 19. Yeah, bad idea, I know. Well, I'm glad that you can confirm that. Your frontal cortex is not all fully developed yet, you see? It was really my only source of income. My mother also sent me money regularly, but I wanted to be financially independent. I gotta be honest, I'd respect you a lot more if you just laid it down a little bit flatter, you know? My mom did send money to support me, but I like selling my pussy and having even more money, so whatever. And then I would tell you whatever that seems to me like a fairly gross way to go through life. But we all make our own decisions. OP continues, I ended up seeing quite a lot of clients. Like, not multiple ones a day. That makes it slightly better, maybe. But at the end of a year, it had certainly been a number of men. And by the end, it was very complicated to deal with mentally, so my brain probably discarded a lot of memories from that time, which means I genuinely do not remember and recall what most of my clients look like or their names, especially the ones that I had only seen once. All right, let me show you a picture of this man. This is Boogie2988. Do you recognize this man? She does. She definitely does. Fast forward to now. I'm 20 with a stable job. Oh yeah, it's all been behind me for years. Well, just 1 year. And I still do work like that sometimes to be more comfortable with my budget. But it's very rare, and I always select who I see. So you're the girl that's like going through Tinder trying to sell her butthole. That's so annoying, bro. How is that so annoying? Hey, here's a cool person. It seems like we matched. And she's like, it's $200 for the night. And you're like, what? Not for me, it's not. My offer is rescinded. Whatever. OP says, I've been single for a few weeks, and I just had my first vacation in a while, so I decided to install Tinder and see where it would lead. You know exactly where it's straight down the fucking money trail, no? I just paid for a vacation, time to get back on my grind. Just be honest. That's all I'm really asking here. So I matched with this guy, and we'll call him Andrew. And Andrew seemed pretty nice. We didn't really talk a lot before meeting because, to be honest, I was trying to get out of my apartment and go out a little. And so Andrew asked me out on a bowling date after only a few messages. I thought that would be fun, and I agreed to meet with him. I wasn't expecting much, as he didn't seem extraordinary. To be fair, OP, neither do you. And we didn't have a lot in common, but I thought it would be a fun activity. So I went and joined him at the bowling around 10 p.m.
Nico, it's Roman. Let's go bowling.
Did he pay for the bowling? Do they sell $5 beers? Do you think she drinks like a goldfish? I got a lot of questions. Not gonna get many straight answers out of this OP, I don't think. When I got there, his face felt familiar. And of course, I wondered if he had been one of my clients. But due to a lot of things, I tend to get paranoid and end up asking myself that about a lot of the men that I meet. What a terrifying way to go through life. Everybody's just a potential John. I'm not sure if that guy's been balls deep in me before. Dude, you're blowing my mind right now. So I discarded that thought as me just being paranoid and him having a common facial structure. The date went on. We had fun at the beginning, even though there was no real connection. We basically had zero common interests. And to be honest, he didn't seem to have many interests in general. But being a big people pleaser, I still tried to make conversation and give him a chance. Is this a paid-for date or not? Are we actually being nice right now, or are you trying to close the deal? I'm really not sure. Maybe it's me that has all these preconceived notions. Who cares? Anyway, after the bowling, we went out for drinks and stayed until the bar closed, just talking about our lives and all. I definitely wasn't having the best of times and felt basically zero connection to him, but it wasn't bad either. And I wanted to stay out, so we ended up talking for a very long time about random stuff until we started talking politics. Yeah, talk politics with a prostitute. That's that's how I want to spend my night. He claimed he was centrist right-wing, and I icked. Yeah, and he icked. He icked all over the place for only $200. Why do we have standards all of a sudden? I'm still presuming all of this is paid for. OP says, I asked him a bit more about that, and every single stance was vague, with nothing to back it up, as if he'd only made an opinion from watching TV, but still ended up saying a number of oppressive BS statements. I like how this is the part that gets you real hot under the collar, you know? Everything about me and my life, completely fine, don't question it. But you having right-wing statements from TV, shame. It might surprise you to know that I don't care all that much for a hooker's opinion. See, now there's some people in the comment section getting all hot and bothered too. It's fine. Feel how you feel. At least we're being direct about it at this point. Continuing on, OP says, so at this point, I was pretty upset and wondering, what was I even doing here? And I started to want to go home. That's all it takes to keep you away from me, huh? I'm gonna start looking up some right-wing talking points. We still ended up discussing politics for 2 more hours of him explaining dumbfounded ideas and reeking of privilege as I just got more and more frustrated with the conversation. Reeking of privilege, says the girl who decides to sell her body despite mommy paying for her bills. I just went on vacation, but it wasn't enough. I deserve like 8 more vacations. Why don't you take that privilege card? Why don't you take it up, fold it real small, and shove it right in your stink hole. Whew. This one's getting more heated than I thought. After having spent a total of 6 hours with him throughout the whole date, it was around 4 a.m. At that moment, I decided that I had had enough and wanted to go home. So we split an Uber. I hate you. Everything you are is repugnant to me. Want to split an Uber? What's that? You can't pay for your own Uber ride? I'm super indignant, but not that indignant. You're killing me. He asked me to text him as soon as I got home safe and gave me his number. I didn't think twice about it and just agreed, as I was just a bit relieved that this date was finally over. Dude, you sat there you're like, this is fine. I just want to get out of the house and go bowling and have some free drinks. Whatever. Oh my God, you're right wing. I hate you more than anything. Pay for half of my Uber still. Hilarious. So yes, generally a bad date and another proof that I need to stop being a people pleaser. But all that was nothing compared to what I found out later. We're taking the term people pleaser really literally here, aren't we? It's when I got home that things took a turn. I entered his number in my phone and realized that we already had text messages with each other from like a year and a half ago, and he was calling me by my Escort name and asking if we could see each other again. At this point, I freaked out. My paranoia of the beginning of the evening came back to hit me in the face as I realized that that wasn't paranoia at all. I had seen this man when I was an escort, meaning he'd banged me before, for money. And according to the last messages, he had tried to contact me again many times after that. I felt sick and betrayed, both by this guy and my brain, and I couldn't stop thinking that he knew the whole time. I mean, there's not necessarily proof of that. He could have seen you and been like, she's familiar, did I? Nah, she's just got a facial structure that I find pleasing to mine eye, right? This OP can't fathom the fact that she's not the center of the universe. The whole time I was listening to his insipid life, he knew damn well what I used to do. I didn't tell him during the date, as I consider that personal or sensitive info to discard, especially on a date. That's pretty gross, dude. I think that's important information for your potential partner to equip themselves with. Maybe he did know. Maybe his whole game is just like smiling while you talk your life around that other thing that you do. And he just laughs to himself. That might be kind of fun, actually. But I'm a sick individual from time to time. He was probably even remembering what happened between us. I don't think that's the case at all. I think your ego has taken an awkward situation and completely run away with it. I even paid for one of his drinks since he paid for one of mine. The date was last night / this morning since it ended pretty late, and I'm genuinely so mad and disgusted. Why, because he's centrist right wing and he makes enough money to put his Peter inside you? What's the disgusting part? I know what the disgusting part is for me, but I want to know what it is for you. Maybe I'm just overreacting, and maybe his intentions weren't bad, but it's still incredibly sick of him to do all that while knowing that I had no idea that this had happened. I mean, you both had mutual knowledge that it happened, obviously. There was that glimpse of maybe this person I remember? I think you probably both had it and discarded it. You're sitting there thinking that he's playing some kind of sick game, but he gave no inkling that he knew, so why would you presume that? Oh, because you're the center of the cold, dark universe. Forgot. Sorry. OP continues, I'm really glad that we didn't end up doing anything schmexual, as I fear that I would have remembered suddenly during, and that could have been even more fucked up for me. Yes, indeed. Won't you think of how it affects OP? Part of me feels bad. Part of me says, well, I mean, you got paid for it, so like, it kind of is what it is. You chose this. Is sex work? I mean, yeah, this is the work part. Now you've got to exist with that knowledge of yourself and other people. Whatever, going way off into the wood. This is probably way too spicy. I know I'll piss some people off in the comments, but you know what? I don't care. I can acknowledge that it's real work and make fun of it at the same time. Like being a YouTuber. TLDR, I went on a Tinder date with a random guy. It wasn't very interesting. And when I got home, I found out we had met before when I was an escort, and we did it, but I didn't remember, and he did. Where's the proof that he did? Shut your mouth! Did he call you by your escort name at any point during the date? Did he give you like a wink, a sidelong glance where you knew what he was thinking? None of that was even mentioned, so you're basically just presuming everything here. Maybe you should consider taking your escort activities out to like another city where you don't live. Or does mom not break you off enough for gas? Like I said, it's a spicy episode. So I hope you guys will hit all the buttons, like and whatever. Check out the pinned comment for that link to the Patreon sale. Euphemism ABCs, thanks so much. I've also got links to, Twitter, Discord memberships, podcasts are everywhere. Maybe the Teespring, Amazon affiliate link. You take your pick. And regardless of how you support, I love you so much. And I want you to remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead and cut them open. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Promise. Where's